About 2 years ago, we talked with Derek about his journey from being a punk rock band member, traveling to India, and becoming an online therapist. This time, we cover the fleeting nature of situationships that are quite common in digital nomad hubs. Also, we talk about working on self-awareness and matching with the right partner. Spending quality time with aging parents is something that affects a lot of the digital nomads, and Derek was open to talk about his experience and how he managed the situation with his mom. And last but not least, Derek is sharing his journey as an entrepreneur and how he grows his business while helping singles and couples foster better relationships. I'm really pleased to know Derek and to cover such topics. So please enjoy this episode, and if you'd like to check the show notes and the full transcription, please go to nerdontour.net or just click the link in the show notes. Hello and welcome. It's Piotrek Bodera, and this is Nerd on Tour podcast. And this is a second episode with Derek, with my very good friend from the Netherlands. And he is now focusing on relationships. So we will be talking a lot about how it is to be an online therapist for ambitious singles and couples. Welcome back, Derek.
Yeah, thank you, Piotr. It's amazing to see you again, and it's very nice to record the podcast again. I think it's 2 years ago, our previous episode.
More or less, yeah. We were back in France, in the south, in this temporarily co-living with our friends, and the situation for both of us was so much different. Right now, we are far away from each other. I am currently in Kuala Lumpur, in Malaysia, and you are in the Netherlands?
No, at the moment I'm in Paris. So I stay a little bit in the French zone. But, yeah, so I'm in Paris and you're on board. It's a good mix, right?
Yes, but luckily, thanks to the powers of the internet, we are able to record this one. And let's go directly into the topic of healthy relationships. How would you define it?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and maybe just a small thing for maybe the listeners, like why we're gonna talk about healthy relationships, and that's on one hand it's something what we as friends talked a lot about it, so I think that's why it's interesting. But on the other hand, it's also for the last, let's say, 5-6 years my professional life as well, to help people with healthy relationships. And some people who maybe follow me a little bit longer, before my company was called Flexible Living, and I was helping people with different struggles in life, and healthy relationships or unhealthy relationships was one part of the clients I help with. And 2 years ago I decided to skip the other parts, because I was also helping people with, for example, anxiety and depression, and that was my 15 years of experience in mental health care as a kind of psychologist. And there was a point, maybe I can talk about it later a little bit more, but there was a point that I was thinking, like, what I like the most, what is the most effective and most, where I can create the most impact on other people's life, and that's by far relationships and the creation of healthy love relationships. So 2 years ago, I fully committed to that. It was already there, but I skipped the other part. And so it's maybe good for people to know why we are talking about it. So it's a personal interest, but I think I know it's also my work career as well. Yeah, healthy relationships. It's very interesting. We're gonna go deep, of course, in that. I think on one hand, there are some basics in a healthy relationship. Of course, it's communication, it's trust, it's safety, it's a kind of shared values, but it's very clear for people, like, I know this, all right. But the people who I see the most, it's not that they don't have trust for each other, or it's not that they don't have love for each other, but there is something what makes a relationship unhealthy or unhappy or unfulfilled. And that's very interesting. What is that that makes your love life or your relationship unhappy, unfulfilled? And that can have many different factors.
Thank you for making this introduction and this preparation for everyone. So it's definitely connected to the idea and to the movement of digital nomads. So we'll go deeper into that topic later. But focusing on those relationships, you emphasize that this is your professional work. It's also your passion, and you specifically focused on this one thing. So I do remember in our previous conversation that you mentioned that you are the connecting tissue between your band members. Yeah, back in the day when you were in the punk rock group. And would you say that that was the first moment when you realized that you have this energy, that you have this ability to help people understand each other better?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Yeah, it's funny. It's a long time ago. I was thinking about this. Thank you for reminding me, because it's a very interesting time as well. Fun, but also very difficult. As you said, we were 4 guys in a punk rock band when I was young. And yeah, of course, you have 4 personalities. And my role in this band was a little bit like the kind of relationship therapist. So, and your question is, was that the first moment I realized that I have this capacity? Yes and no. I think before I was already working for mental health care, but it was not so clear that this was really my role in the band, for example. So I think it took me 7 years before I remember the lead singer is because I was making some mistakes while recording an album. You know, we record many albums, and I was making some mistakes, and I was like, shit, yeah, my guitar work is not, I'm not the Slash of the world, you know? And then he said, but Dirk, you don't realize how important you are for this collective. And the fact that we are here now, it's also because you have this quality to keep us together. And then I start to realize like, yeah, that's true what he's saying. And also I realize why I'm not in a punk rock band anymore, and why I'm working professionally on relationships of people, because I think I'm better in this last part than in playing the guitar.
Okay, as you say, like I'm not a musician, so I cannot determine how good you are. But I did notice that since we met, there is this quality that I recognize, that you create trust, that people just can come to you and tell you secrets or tell you their issues that they are having with some other people. Doesn't matter if it's a romantic relationship or with parents or at work. So how did it develop over time? You mentioned that you were already involved in working in mental health. So what were the other turning points where you were noticing, okay, I am really good at it?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. We can zoom a little bit more. So I was working, I always explain, like a kind of psychologist in mental health care. And I was working with individuals, of course, but a lot of times I was inviting also a partner or a mother or, you know, some family members. Or there was also a time I was working in crisis shifts, you know, so at night when people had really big problems, the police, for example, called me, and I came into situations with, for example, a young woman who was very depressed and don't want to live anymore. And there was a dad and a mom and the boyfriend, you know, because boyfriend broke up and that's why she felt like that. And mom was like, yeah, but it needs to stop. And dad invite his neighbor because it was difficult for him to talk. So you had lots of, you know, lots of dynamics in this system. And I loved it, you know. I feel very sorry for the people, but I loved it to do like this. There's a Dutch word, but I don't know the English word. But it's from the systematic therapy, you know. It's how can you let everyone feel that they be seen and to be understood. And it's not a trick, you know, but it's real, like, because, and this makes very interesting, and this is also what's in it for the listener. Like, if you invest in yourself, that you can really understand the other, even if you fully disagree, or even if you think, but this is so not helpful, but if you can understand why the other feels or behave as they do, then the fight will be 80% less. And then you create an open space where you can, in this case of mental health care, work with each other, and in a love life where you can work on your relationship or work on your communication. So I think, go back to the crisis shift, I realize if I can let everyone on the table being calm down, that's great. But how you calm down people when they are so high in emotion? It's by understand them, try even. The only thing, try to understand the other, and then they feel that you're trying it and that you respect them. And then they feel like, okay. And then they open up and then they want to negotiate in this case. But I think it's a nice metaphor also for why a lot of relationships are difficult, unfulfilled, or unhealthy, is because people are stuck in emotions and stuck in their needs and their feelings, and partner is not doing this or that, or and why you don't give me this. The first step is, I think, to create some openness and flexibility and capacity to understand the other. That's one hand. The other hand is also very true. You can understand, but that doesn't mean that it's helpful for you. So, and this may be interesting, maybe people recognize in this. So this was in my love life also a very difficult part, because I was so good in understanding and I saw so many nuances, and it helps a lot. But on the other hand, it didn't help me, because sometimes it's also good to be a little bit black and white and say like, okay, I really understand that this is your need, but I'm sorry. And I respect that, and it's okay for you. But I don't want a person in my life with this type of needs. And I respect you, and you don't need to change. But yeah, if we want to be together, let's find common ground, So this was my problem in my love life. I accept too much of the other, and it was not the problem of the other. It was me being too sweet and too open for everything. And it was difficult to stand my ground more and to come up for my needs.
This speaks so well into the book that you recommended me, and it helped me a lot. No More Mr. Nice Guy. Such a good lecture. Understanding where it comes from, and then understanding that reading the emotions of the other person is the first part. And then we need to be really in touch with our own needs and emotions. And then, as you're saying, we cannot be pleaser and fixer. That in every situation, we're just coming there and it's like, I'll solve it. I will fix it for you and you and you and everyone. Yeah. And like everyone will be happy. No, the range of emotions that we have are there because they are telling us something very important. And sometimes it's just good to be sad. Yeah. Sometimes it's good to be concerned, because we can grow from it. We do not have to be like all the time happy and cheerful and hugging everyone and kissing. So this is very helpful. I'm really glad that you recommended me this book and now you're telling those examples. Would you say that this is also the important step in recognizing when the relationship that we have is not healthy?
Yeah, let me say this, and if you agree, I use what you just said. It's true. We had in the past lots of talks about my relationship, but also your relationship. And then I recommend you the book. I read it myself years and years ago, and it changed my life because I was too sweet as a man. I was too sweet. I was always taking care of women, and of course, I was also needed still some attention and approval women, and that didn't make me a bigger, trusted, good, healthy partner for a woman. And of course, and this is also invite for lots of guys who are listening now, and I'm gonna be a little bit tough, especially the digital nomads. I was one of them, because what I see with digital nomad men, they are nice, they are open-minded, they are sweet, they have some freedom in them, especially lots of men. They are also, like to be around with women and like to date, and that's all fine. And I don't say it's super unhealthy, but on the other hand, what I see now these days in the digital nomad life, and again, I was, when I was young, one of them, so I don't want to say that I'm perfect, especially not, but I did the work. I hope that the guys who find themselves in like, I always have enough girls, but at the end they fell in love with me, and then I don't feel it, and then I go to the next one, and you know what I mean? Or they fell in love with a woman, and the woman at the end, they don't want to be with you. The chance that you have some nice guys things in you, it's super big. And I hope that you face it, because it's gonna help you a lot. And you create also the world, or you help the world for more healthy relationships. And it's very interesting, because you read the book 5 months later, I had a talk with you. I said, Piotrek, how are you? And you said, Dirk, I'm in a healthy relationship.
Yes.
Right? And it's
Yeah,
also
yeah, yeah.
because you faced the fact that you're a sweet man, and that's great. We need sweet men in the world. But on the other hand, some moments it's not good to be sweet. It's
Yeah.
good to be clear. It's good to face the things, and it's good to be, more direct and say like, okay, this is fine, but this is my need, or I see this with you, or no, this is not right, or you know what I mean? And then you create a healthy relationship, and a woman feels way more safe if you love women, for example, but you feel as a woman way more safe and seen because you have a man who you can really trust, you know?
Yeah, that's so true. And in 5 months, saw the effects of reading the book, of applying the knowledge that was there. And yeah, I think especially in the digital nomad community, this notion that the relationships are always fleeting and then there is never a good match, yeah, because one person wants to go this way and the other one the other, and there is like, yeah, we are only a short term.
In the digital nomad world, the most relationships are situationships, and they call it relationships and they call it love affairs, but they are just situationships. And this is a little bit, I had it also in me, that I want to be free, you know. That's why we became digital nomads on one day. And that's not bad, because in this freedom, I wish some people were more free. But on the other hand is also right. We need to find also the commitment in ourselves to choose, you know, not to have everything always free. No, to put healthy borders for yourself, because borders gives at the end the real freedom. This is what it is. So a lot of digital nomads, they create situationships, and it's getting stronger and stronger, because after the situationship, you feel disappointing in the other or in yourself. And then these patterns get stronger and stronger. And the more situationships and the even stronger situationships are coming. And then you start to believe that this is the truth, you know, or you start to believe that love is not for you, or you start to believe that healthy relationships are boring, or that healthy relationships are unhealthy, or that sex life is always bad with a healthy relationship, or that that you cannot be free, or whatever. You start to say this bullshit to yourself in your brain, and then it's a lot of the same. And maybe this is also interesting. I start to tell that I was having flexible living, and the word is already in it, flexible living. Still, I believe for 70% for what I was doing, but the 30% was I didn't choose. I was not choosing one woman. I was, I was not, it was difficult for me to choose. And also I could help people with depression. I could help people with anxiety. I could help people with this. And then one guy told me, Dirk, you need to choose. And I feel so scared, because I was thinking, but if I choose, then I don't have this, this, and this, you know?
Yeah.
It's a kind of metaphor for the situationship.
Yeah. And definitely it touches the point of loneliness, of this perceived loneliness, because it's not that people are like in their bedrooms and they cannot get out and meet other people. It's just this mental state of mind where you had so many of those situationships, and then you start to doubt yourself, doubt the relationships in general. And that's very true what you said. I also had the same thing, that for many years when I was traveling and enjoying the world, enjoying meeting new people everywhere, I knew that something is missing. I kind of felt it internally that every time I was trying to reach out, trying to be with someone, then everything was like falling apart really quickly because of many reasons. But the one most important reason was just within me, like not understanding what I'm actually looking for, what emotional availability of the other person I was looking for. And this is also like very true in my case when I was talking with some very dear friends, and they use this phrase, like you cannot establish anything with a partner that is not emotionally available. Like in my case, this is how I perceive healthy relationships. And I'm curious, like how do you feel, what would be the first step for someone who's listening and they feel, they understand what we are talking about, but what should they do right now to to go into the better direction, to get away from this loneliness?
Yeah, I a few things what I want to react on it. Let me start with the last part, and that is what someone can do. Like, what is the most interesting? It's a little bit black and white. What is that thing what you always repeat and repeat and repeat? And it's, for example, in your professional life, in your love life, or in your traveling life. What is that, you know? And I, for example, to give my own example, I was doing a lot, you know. It was like, so for me, and if you listen carefully, for me the chance was, I need to get better in choosing, you know, and to create strength. That's why I went also 3 times a week to the gym, because I was a yoga teacher. So I was good in everything, flexible, in making things flexible. And that was also my strength. But on the other hand, my body was weak. I was not strength. I was not able to push a heavy barrel, you know, with every week more kgs on it, you know. And that's the same like choosing one woman, you know, it's the same metaphor. And so maybe not for everyone, the answer is here clear for them in my answer, but this is your own searching. What is that one thing that you do that will not lead to what you really want? And everyone can say, but Dirk, no need for a healthy relationship. Everyone wants a healthy relationship. Everyone. So let's stay on this path. What you do all the time, repeat and repeat and repeat. Be very honest to yourself. What is that one thing that you always do? And when you find this one thing, then, or you send me a message, can you help you very well in this? But no, it's like, then you need to find on a psychological way. That's on one hand, how can you transform this one thing, but also on a physical and practical way. For example, for me, it was also traveling less. Choose to travel less, to focus on one partner, and I have an amazing love life now. I'm in a very healthy, stable relationship. It was for me also to invest in a few friends, because I had lots of friends everywhere, but you cannot be everywhere, because then you feel lonely. You have many people around you, but deep inside you lay down in the bed of your co-living, and deep inside you feel lonely, because you have a lot, but at the end you have not that much. And focus on a few people, and of course, around that circle, still you can be with them and be amazing. And it's not that black and white, but just focus on some people, focus on the things that are really important for you. Build something, for example, a company or a love life or a body, or, you know, choose. Focus on the psychological part, but also the physical and practical part. For me, is that gym, but for other people can maybe do yoga, because they are so stuck, and they are so stuck in this masculinity, even if they are a man. And for them, it's good to go to aesthetic dance and to open up and to do more circles and to do yoga, you know. So, but this is very depends on what is that thing, what brings you always not to this healthy relationship.
Once again, Derek, I'm so glad that you're talking out loud about those things, because I also noticed this so much in myself, that this 2 years ago, a bit more, I was weak. Yeah, I did a lot of sports. I did a lot of yoga, and I was much more like flexible in that sense, but I didn't have enough strength. Yeah, and only because I really invested in going to the gym and making my workout consistent, and also with diet. Yeah, like I am eating much more right now, or I'm much more focused on proteins, and even being in Asia, and I eat heaps of tofu, because I know that I cannot grow. I cannot be, you know, the vision that I have in my head, that I want to be a big man in a like very positive sense of this word. And it is so interesting, yeah, that 2 years ago, people would notice, or they would not tell me that I look quite skinny, yeah, and that, like, it also, like, in mental sense, I was not strong enough. And now is like the new friends that I'm meeting in co-working, co-livings, they are like, oh, look, like he's really fit, yeah, like it really feels that there is something strong, that the core is there, not only in muscular sense, yeah, not only like, oh, you don't have to be a Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, you're high, tall, but will never be a very
skinny,
muscular. And it's not about this, but on the other hand, it's also a little bit about this. So it's not about having big arms, but it's about if you find yourself as a man, I need sometimes more strength in my life, then it also helps to train your muscles.
Yeah, I think just to sum up this one argument, I would say that the strength, that the kind of physical strength, it directly correlates to your strength in managing stressful situations. Those moments when your partner really needs you and they feel safe with you because you have this core, you can protect your partner. And this is like so important for them.
This, and maybe it's interesting because I know lots of women will listen to this podcast too. And as a woman, for what I see also in the digital nomad world and outside this digital nomad world as well, I think 85 of the women I worked with the last 5 years, they have a high amount of masculinity in them. And don't understand me wrong, the first part in everything you find yourself, what it's helpful, not helpful, be always very sweet and very friendly to yourself. So we all perfect and it's all good. But then after this, so you give yourself the love, trust me, you're good. And then after the love, you can give yourself nice feedback and think like, hey, I'm this powerful woman and I have a good business or my work life and blah, 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 and my life is cool because I see many people and guys feel attracted to me. But if you really listen to your heart, you want a healthy relationship, you want a partner. And then it's helpful also if you want this healthy masculine man that you work, for example, on your healthy feminine energy in you. We all have both, eh? And it's helpful maybe to sometimes be less like, okay, I will organize this or I will catch the man, you know, or and to open up a little bit more and to be able to receive and to be loved. And you know what I mean? That's why I always be so open about myself that people feel like I'm not here the guru who tell you how it is. I'm fucking one of them, you know. I'm plus with you guys.
Yeah, I completely agree because maybe it's somehow connected to the Western view of like how the woman should be today, powerful, successful, and the masculinity is kind of hidden. Yeah, nobody is really labeling this, but it is, you can sense it, like your partner can sense it, that sometimes the female is too much masculine and the male partner is not enough or trying to be more than their partner. And then there's some sort of like competition, like who is more masculine, yeah, in a relationship, which also I think it's not healthy.
And it's not black and white. So I always want to give a disclaimer. For example, I'm with an amazing partner. She's super successful. It's an amazing woman. She has a beautiful feminine part, but she also have a masculine part. I have a masculine part. I have also a nice feminine part. Sometimes it's switch, and that's perfectly fine, you know? So it's not that black and white, like, a man should be masculine, a woman should be super feminine, and that's the only way. That's also cool.
Yeah.
But the other hand is also true, you know? So find the nuance, but also make it a little bit black and white for yourself, because in this black and whiteness, it's a lot of true.
Okay, Derek, I want to switch to the next thing because I know that we could talk for hours just for this one topic that we started. But I think it is like very powerful to understand that the relationships, it's not only about men and women or romantic relationships between any genders. It's more about how do you create this vibe, the bubble with your parents, with your kids, if you have them, with your extended family, with your siblings. For me, this is definitely the foundation. The healthy relationships that I have with my family allowed me to travel the world and be the digital nomad. So for me, it's super important. Even if I am like at the end of the world, I always try to call them at least once a week and be in touch with them and give them this affirmation that I'm always with them, thinking about them. And speaking about parents, I know that this is a quite hard topic for you, and I asked you beforehand if you are okay to talk about it, because your mom has cancer and she has had it for a long time. So what's the current situation with her and how do you deal with this relationship?
Yeah, thank you for being so careful in this. I respect that. And even if it's painful, it's a very good subject to talk about, because I think many digital nomads or faced it or in the future, sorry to say, will face release it because it's the
Yeah.
truth, you know. And so yeah, my mom, yeah, it's the current situation is that that the chances that she is dying in the next couple of months, it's super high. So
Hmm.
that's I'm every 2 weeks in Netherlands for 2 weeks. So then I really stay with her, and I
Hmm.
can say many things about it. What what I really, really be blissful for it. For example, yesterday I get a message. I'm now in Paris. Yesterday I get a message that she was in the hospital, that it went very bad. I will not give the details because, yeah, it makes no sense. But there was a situation where this was very bad, and if this was continued, then it was, yeah, then I think she was dead in 2 days. I'm very happy that they could fix this physiological thing while it gives her again some space for weeks or a few months, you know. But there was a chance that this was not possible anymore. And then I realized, like, shit, like if she was dying tomorrow, for example, and then I felt I'm so, so happy that the last 2 years I made her one of my biggest priority. Because if I go back in the days, and I think lots of digital nomads, they gonna feel what I'm gonna say now. If you travel and if you meet new people and if you're in this flow, you're in this flow. And even, of course, you think about your parents, and of course you think about your friends or some kids. I'm 2 times uncle, and of course I get photo, but somehow you're also a little bit disconnected because life move on and you're in the flow, and it's amazing to be in a cool co-living or to meet people or to explore a new country or to have success with your company, and you stay in a flow. And I think 2 years ago it came back on my path. Everyone I was speaking to said me the same. Dirk, I heard your mom is sick. I had this, I met lots of people with the same experience, and they said, I give you one advice: spend time with her. Please spend time with her. Go with her, listen to her, walk with her, talk with her, whatever. Just spend time with her. And this was also the moment what previous, you know, the way of choosing. I choose to go a lot of times to Netherlands. It cost me whatever, lots of money all the time. I don't care because I choose to be more with her, and I'm so happy that I did, because I hope she is still long with me. But if this not is the case, I think I will feel that I had so much amazing moments with her, and it's not on a mountain, or it was not on a great sea or whatever. It was just walking with her hand in hand to the supermarket, 5 minutes walk with supermarket bag with some empty glass boxes, have some talks about life and whatever, and walk back. You know, these moments, they are amazing. I spent this time with her, and Monday I go back to Netherlands, and we cannot walk anymore, but or she can not. Yeah, these moments, it's. And then you realize also, and it's very cliche, of course, when someone dies, that you start to realize. But I think this is also what helps me as a digital nomad. I'm not sure if I still count myself a digital nomad. I'm more a very slow nomad, let's say. I'm still with this nomad in me, you know. It's always stays also. And I believe, by the way, that a healthy relationship is also based on being a little bit free, you know. I don't talk about polyamory or open relationships or this type of bullshit. Not it's not bullshit, but most of the time not helpful. But you know, so a little bit free is good. So I'm still a little bit this nomad, but on the other hand, yeah, I prioritize things, and yeah, I will give listening digital nomads the advice to also really invest in this. Choose a little bit some really people and invest and see them a lot, because it's important.
Yeah, like I do feel this is very crucial, that the quality time is something that we cannot exchange into money or gifts or, you know, sending a picture because being with someone and doing even the mundane things like going to buy groceries is so crucial, especially when they already feel that they are saying goodbye. And yeah, I'm really glad that you're telling this, that you are open about sharing this kind of approach. And I do feel that this is very healthy. Yeah, that death is just part of life, and being okay with it and just spending time with someone is very simple, but not easy. And I think a lot of people forget about it.
Yeah, and I know that you also do some trips with your dad and prioritized it. I was on many hikes with you, and that I said, "Oh, Piotrek, you don't need to tell me, but I think you had a nice conversation on the phone." And then you said, "Oh, yeah, it's my dad, you know." You're an example of someone who prioritized that a lot. And maybe the last thing to say, and it's also, I say it with lots of love to my mom, because I have so much respect for her, what I really like. And I think this is where digital nomads are good in. What she said, it's a Dutch sentence, how can I say? She wants to die alive. And that means like, she had many chemos for 6-7 years, and then she chose to stop it because the chance of having so much side effects till the end of her life was bigger than the fact that she could have not pleasure, of course, but a goodbye. You know what I mean? And I think this is nice about digital nomads. They also want to live, you know? So it's very nice. They realize that they are alive and that they need to explore. But yeah, that's also finding the balance in that. But yeah, I have lots of respect how my mom deals with it, and this is the flexible part. And I see that with my mom too. So she accept her fate. Is that the word in English?
Yeah.
She positive fight with it when there was an opening. And when the opening closed, she accepted. And I think it's super powerful if you can do that. So if you can change things, you do everything what you can do. And if you cannot change it, then you embrace it, and then you build flexibility, and then you find the deeper values under this. And I think very wise thing what she do and what I take from her from this period.
Yeah. Thank you once again, Dirk, for sharing this and for doing this, because that's the most important part, is that you are actually spending the money, spending the time to be there with your mom and to be a good example, like a role model for others to prepare for the future and then try to do the same.
Perfect, but I try to be good. That's I try to be helpful.
Yes. So I would like to move to more cheerful part of our conversation, something that I am very proud that you accomplished and that you are on your journey building it up and really having a success. Because last time when we were speaking in our previous podcast, you were really focused on the flexible living as a project. And quickly you found that it's better to focus on this one thing about relationship and being a therapist for singles and couples. So I'm really curious, what is your current business activity?
Yeah, after that, it went very quick. So at the moment, as you said, I help singles and couples through a healthy relationship. I have a podcast, and at the moment it's nice because 2 days ago I received that we are in the top 15 of the top 100 most listened relationship podcast in the Netherlands, and above Michelle Obama, and under me was Esther Perel. So felt for a few moments like, oh, this is not bad, you know? I'm sorry for the people who are not speaking Dutch. It's a Dutch podcast. It's big on Spotify, on YouTube. At the moment, it's starting, but I think on YouTube, maybe you can use some...
You can use the subtitles. They are automatically translated into English. Yeah.
So maybe you will put somewhere some notes in it, some link. So yeah, the podcast going very well. I have amazing guests, like very well-known entrepreneurs or well-known people. And it's amazing to talk with them about love life. And I work a lot to make this happen and to give my clients the best they can, and the results are. So that's very cool. I cannot evidence-based prove it, but it's just happening. If I look to my clients the last years, the woman and man who came as a single, 75% ended up after half year or 1 year in a stable, healthy relationship, and they still are. So
perfect.
But again, a disclaimer, you know, like I scientifically proved yet, but yeah, it's working. So that's super cool. But it's also interesting maybe for the listener who is entrepreneur. Oh my God. When I thought I choose to be an entrepreneur, two things. I didn't realize what is to be an entrepreneur. I had no fucking idea. And two, I had never the idea that it was so tough. It's so cool, but it's also so tough. And this is interesting. So I was working for mental health care, and every year I worked 1 day a week less, and I was investing 1 day a week more in my company. I fully switched. So I stopped my 9 to 5 job and I was fully on my company. And when I make the decision, in a half year, I learned more than in all these years before, because then it went so quick. And still deep in this journey. I'm still a beginner, I think, in the entrepreneur world, but wow, it's so schizophrenia, you know. It's like one day you think, best choice I ever made, and the other day it's like, why is this so tough?
It is, yeah, and it's definitely not something for everyone. It does require the stomach to digest all of the issues and all of the misadventures or challenges that are happening. So, if you could pinpoint what were actually the biggest challenges for you in this entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, the biggest challenge in the last years in my journey. As an entrepreneur, for example, if you start as a coach or a therapist or whatever, you're gonna face rejection a lot. You know, you're gonna face rejection a lot in general as an entrepreneur. And yeah, this is. Let me say this: if you want to grow as a human, just start a love relationship or a company. You know, build something, and then you face so many things. What happens a lot in love relationships is how you deal with rejection, and that's also what happened in a company. So for me, it was a tough part, how to deal with rejection, how to deal with things what is going wrong. I knew, for example, I invest a lot in a professional podcast studio, like a lot of money, because I thought my podcast went very well and I had bigger guests in the Netherlands, and for example, my reels on Instagram went from 300 views to 40k 50k views. Wow, this is working. So I thought this is the right step to invest a lot of money in the best podcast studio you can get. Like, it's ultra HD and it's the big guys are there. And I thought, okay, let's go.
Excellent.
And what would happen? I invite, of course, even bigger guests, and all the guests said no. Or they said yes. And at the end, there were 3 women I invite, and all the 3 at the end, last minute, they were sick or were not able to come or whatever. And I realized it's the point that the guy I was working from the studio, he saw that I was so upset. He saw that I was so upset. And like a little boy, he said to me, like a dad to a little boy, he said to me, Dirk, I will pick you up from the train station, because I came from Paris. I booked a hotel and I thought, okay, this, you know, I put also my mindset right, because the big guests were coming. So I thought I want a good sleep. So I had a good hotel and I was ready. They all canceled. And then he said, I pick you up from the station, come to the studio. And yeah, one guest was coming. And we make it a good day, you know. He was really taking care of me. And it's very interesting because I'm 34 and he was 21. And then there was one guest coming. It was a couple. It was amazing podcast. What an amazing couple. What a great, she's an entrepreneur. And the fact that she was there helped me so much. The fact that he was taking me from the train helped me so much that I let go of everything. I thought, okay, I'm just gonna make a nice conversation with this couple, because maybe my podcast is over, maybe my business is over, maybe whatever, you know. So what can I do? Yeah, I'm gonna meet a couple and let's have a human connection and a nice conversation. And from there, the magic explode. And from there it went quick. And, you know, and now the guests are fully booked till September, you know. I have, to be honest, too much guests who wants to come, going everywhere. But this moments that you realize, I said to Judith, my partner, I said, on one hand, I wish someone tells me what to be an entrepreneur was. And on the other hand, I'm so happy that no one told me, you know. And now I'm in this roller coaster, and I know myself. If I make the choice to step in the roller coaster, I'm not the guy who at the end say, oh, please, can I go out? You know, I'm not this person. So now I'm in this looping ride. I'm happy I did, and I'm happy nobody told me before. But
nice.
Why I was not in Tenerife 3 days working for mental health care, close my laptop, give the world the best, but then at 4 close my laptop, jump into the sea, doing nice things with you 4 days weekend a week, you know. Why I don't have this life anymore.
So nice. Yeah, you never know how the journey will unfold in front of you, because honestly, the entrepreneurial journey for me is very similar to like being a digital nomad
Yeah.
because you are opening yourself to a lot of possibilities and you maybe have some idea, yeah, like a destination, oh, I want to go there, but you don't know who you will meet while flying or once you are there, especially if it's a completely new culture or a country, you have to relearn everything and embrace the new weirdness of the situation. Yeah. So I'm so glad that you're enjoying this ride, and it's not easy, as I can hear. So this decision that you told me that you switched from working for the healthcare, being an employee, and now you are on your own, just running your own business. This happened in the beginning of this year, 2024.
Yeah, I fully switched, but at that time I was working so less. So yeah, it was already happening for years, but the real last click, it was Tenerife, November 2023. Judith on the couch, me very bad on the couch, and she said, "But Derek," I said, "But Judith, do you understand what's going on with me right now? Like, I feel there is something why this is all happening." And we had some arguments, and then she said, "Yes, I think you need to stop your mental health care job because it's too much. It's craziness." And then I thought, you're right. And then I did. I called my mom. I said, "Mom, I'm gonna quit my job. Tell my dad. He will be shocked, but we will work on it." And she said, "Derek, I think you make a right decision." And then I called my business coach at that time. I said, "Let's do it." And I called the secretary of my boss at that time, schedule me a call for tomorrow or the week after on Monday. The first point, she said, "Important." I said, "Yes." Yeah, and then I did what I need to do. But it's not that I'm this impulsive. I'm the opposites of being impulsive.
Yeah.
But I was thinking already and talking already for a long time. When life shows you very clear, and now it's the moment, then let's go.
In terms of having enough of money buffer, yeah, or like just being sure that you have enough of your clients to actually work with them, yeah, for the next couple of months, and then you can afford, going to see your mom and being with your girlfriend in Paris. Did you actually had some calculations that, oh, I need to earn this much to be sure that I can quit my job?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yes, I was listening to a podcast of Vision Lakiani from Mind Valley. Judith and me, we went also to Tallinn to the Mind Valley University event. And there he was telling the best way to start a business is start as a side hustle, because then you don't feel all this pressure. Because look on your Instagram, you can see which coaches has money problems because you feel it in every way. They need you as a client. There is such a big need. It's same in love, If you're so insecure and you need love, the healthy people will feel and they will not feel attractive to you, I follow his advice as a side hustle. And at that time, I had a business coach and he was telling me, "Derek, if you ever make a switch, just have half year salary on your account, that you can make a switch. Have a half year salary on your account. And that's the right moment to switch." And Vision Lakiani, he said, when for the first month you earn that amount of money that you really think, okay, this is really the goal for the next year, then you switch. And this is what I did.
Nice. It's so good to hear that you are not one of those jumping headfirst into the shallow waters type of person where you're like hustling and being really aggressive, yeah, like with marketing, like, "Oh, you are my client, and like give me money." I think the internet is filled with this kind of gurus or businessmen because I don't know, maybe because of American culture is focusing on those, or maybe because they are louder than calmer people and more quiet and more nicer people like you. And I think it is very important to also hear from people like you to know that the business can grow and can be fulfilling, not only in terms of money, but also in terms of what you really want to do in life. It's not that someone told you like, "Oh, you have to go and make your own practice." No, it happened year after year. I do remember when we were recording the previous podcast, you were already mentioning, that you have this 1 or 2 days a week that you are really working on your project. You're really finding what is the perfect match. So I'm still curious. Did you have maybe one of those clients or one of those moments, maybe the popularity of your podcast, as you said with the reels, did you really feel that, oh, okay, this is the sign. I'm ready to go and explore more?
Yeah, there were, before I made the choice, already some signs. For example, I think it was 2023, so I think it's now more than 1 year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I had so many clients. So that means I was seeing in mental health care, I think 18 people a week. My own company, I also saw around 16 till 17 or 18.
Nice.
I was so full. So my business was so full that I was working 6 days a week from 8 till 9, only helping people. And that was actually maybe a point that I was ready for the switch, but at that time I didn't.
Mm.
I was not ready. So there were a few things. And it's very interesting because, of course, it's interesting. My first clients, he's still with me. It's amazing. But yeah, in the past, lots of clients came and go. I'm on one hand a mentor for people. I really believe in mentor and coaches. You heard me saying,
Mm-hmm.
so I had business coaches in my life. I had therapists in my life. I was just looking to successful people in love and in business, and they all have mentors and coachings, So it's healthy to work with someone half year or 3 months, and it's healthy to have someone for a few years, but it's also healthy to switch after a few years. So,
Yeah, to have the growth all the time and seek the proper people that can help you at the proper time.
maybe it's interesting if coaches are listening, because the internet is so full of people who are super good in selling, but the value if terribly bad. I was the opposite. I was super bad in selling. I'm very experienced in transform people's life, doing 15 years. And at the moment, I'm finding this balance because I was listening to a very interesting podcast of a very good hypnotherapist. It's a super good entrepreneur. And he said, if you are not very good in selling and in neuromarketing, then you cannot help people. He said this: if you have a person in front of you with a problem and you are super, super sure that you are one of the best to solve this problem, it's a shame if you don't sell them something. Only help them if you convince them that you have the answer. If you feel you don't have the answer, then of course, say, I'm not the right person for you. I always follow this part. But I was not good in selling, and that's why it was difficult. And when I saw this, I found the balance of giving people the best value you can give and transform their life. And on the other hand, being good as an entrepreneur to sell, because your business will die if you don't sell. You can be the best therapist of the world, but if people are not convinced that you are, and where is all the money and all the people going? To the people who are not good in their jobs, So
Yes.
all the people in the world a favor, become good in selling, because then you give people good. And when you are not good in your job, stop selling, work on your skills.
Mm-hmm. Nice. This is so important that the internet already reached this level where it's so easy to find answers or find whatever product that will satisfy my needs. But is it actually quality enough to actually address my deep feelings, my deep needs, especially when we are talking about something that is not packaged in a box that like, oh, if I'm hungry, it's easy to order food or buy it in an online groceries. But when I'm having some, dark thoughts or depression or like issues with my relationships, I cannot even name it. Yeah. It's so hard for me to, where do I start with the whole mess that is happening in my life? So in your case, what is the best selling channel? What is the way you connect with your clients and then they find you?
What I really believe in it and what is working a lot for my company is the podcast, because what I love is to have conversations with people. What I appreciate is, and what I love too, and what I'm passionate about it, is have real conversations with real people. What we are doing right now, That's what I like. And it's also what we all like, because we want realness. We want real stories. We want that, not that you as only a professional, like, yeah, this is it's working from the books. No, you want to hear like sometimes I'm laying down in bed and I feel fucking lonely. And then you think, oh, thank God there are more people feeling like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or partner do this, I feel so rejected. And then you think, oh shit, thanks. I'm not the only one. Yeah? So you want real people. And the podcast is a perfect platform to have real conversations. So 99% of the clients who work with me, they know me from my podcast, and they start to know me because and now the roles are different. Normally I'm the Piotrek, you know, I ask the people some things, you know, so now it's the opposite way. But then she said, Dirk, you're a friendly man, but you are there to tell, you know, or whatever clients think about me. They start to know me in this podcast, and then they become also trusted in me, and then they see me also working, because I talk with the people like, why is this happened to you in the past, this bad experience, or why you always in situationships, or you know, whatever. And then we find the clue for it, and then they think, yeah, this is exactly what I want. And then people can always have, this is also for the listeners here, and people can always have a free advice call with me. So in half an hour, and it's really true, sometimes it's 35 or 40 minutes, but in half an hour, we always find the reason, the one thing, what is happening in your love life, and I make for you a plan how you can turn that into more relationship success. You can book this call with me, and that's what people do after this podcast. And then you have different people. You have people who are not ready for it. So I tell them what I think, and yeah, they are not really ready for it, you know, so they go and you have people, they are very ready for it, and they click and they transform their life and it goes better. And you have people, they realize, yeah, I just need some help in that because it's complex what it is. And then, some people, they trust me as their therapist or mentor, and then we book great success. And I think this is working for me.
Perfect. Yeah, it's so good to hear that this channel, that podcast is the way to connect with people, is the way to give the glimpse of who you are. I also love to listen to so many people that I respect, that I learn from, and the conversation type of podcast is definitely my favorite, where you can really spend the quality time with two people, sometimes more. But the idea is that, okay, they have some dynamic, they have some interesting relationship, and then both of them have something interesting to say. Yeah, it's not really like this TV interview style where the journalist is somewhere behind the camera and then the guest, the celebrity, is just shining, is like, yeah, I'm so great and blah, blah, blah. Then after each episode is recorded, is uploaded to your YouTube, to your Spotify. And then you also work with some agency that helps you to cut it into Instagram Reels and some other materials. Could you tell a bit more how it works? And do you also pay for some Facebook ads to promote this kind of content?
Yeah, I do everything organic. So all my things is organic marketing. Yeah, the company makes it Reels, but I choose the Reels because you have also now AI platforms. You put your podcast, Opus AI will make for you the Reels. But I say AI goes very far. So he gives you the silver, but it not give you the human gold. And that if you focus on your Instagram and you're saying the guest or me a quote, a very human quote, like, as I said, like, I feel so rejected when these partners say to me, this is what people want to hear because this is value for them. And AI is still not good enough to see this human gold. So I choose the stamps, you know. A very good friend of mine works for this company, so he edited for me and then he sent it to me like, what do you think? And it's very nice. It's important. I'm very focused on it. Before I did everything myself, you know, also the editing, and it was not possible. I have amazing people doing it, and but I choose the Reels. It's very important.
And then the moment someone is interested, do you direct them to your links in your Instagram profile to schedule the conversation? Or do you also engage with Instagram messages to stay in touch? And do you also do this on your own, or do you have some people to help you?
Yeah, no, I do everything myself. It's a lot of work. So I hope I can still do it myself for a long time. People go to the link, book their own. I have a Calendly link, so people book their own call with me. Try always to have enough spots available. Sometimes it's a challenge because, the clients, but I try to be available enough. And and some people send me a DM like, hey, Dirk, I give always advice to people. I get lots of messages on Instagram. I always give advice like, hey, did you about this? Did you read this book? Did you try this? And if I think, okay, what a lot of times has happened, like a book is good, but some people clicked, but with many people, it's not clicking. And then I say, but hey, if you want, you can always schedule a call with me. I can look with you, if I believe that I can help them, So always be very, very, very honest in your marketing. It's the best, because I only want happy clients. And if I don't think I can make them happy clients, I will tell them. If I believe when they fully can do it themselves, I will tell them too.
Yeah, building this trust with a therapist is, I think, the most important part. Yeah, because if someone is not really convinced that they want to work with you, whatever marketing and sales techniques you would try to apply, in the end, they won't be happy. They won't be preferring other people, or they won't be feeling like they spent the money for a good service. So it's so vital to focus on the clients that really want to be your clients, and then to build the relationship long term.
Yeah, you need to be ready for it. For example, it's also a money mindset thing. And this is sad to see. I don't know if it's a Dutch thing, but I see so many people. I can help them so well, and they are so convinced about it. But when they heard money, they are like crashing, And it's sad. I had it when I was very young as well. As you heard in this podcast, I invest a lot in myself. And that's the interesting part. Even if you invest in your love life, it brings you back also money-wise. You know what I mean? So it's always like this. You invest, you get something in return. But this is sadly what people don't see. And that's why people stay also stuck in their life, stuck in their love life, stuck in their entrepreneur journey, stuck in their whatever, because they freaked out about money, and then it's telling them it's better not to do it, And then the circle is round, Why I have clients who never want to pay me well. Yeah, because you don't invest in a business coach. I had a few business coaches. I pay them good money. It's exactly why I break my own patterns, why I can attract the right clients,
Yeah. So maybe before they can afford your services, they should also get to some, business coach. And then if they have enough money, then they can...
Don't go to a business coach if you want to work on love. Just be aware this is happening, And I'm not a super expensive coach now. But what I want to give to people, if you want to invest, for example, in your love life or in a company or whatever, just realize that this investment is for you. And if you have a right person in front of you, you get it 10 times in return, and trust the process,
Yeah, of course. I was just joking about that someone had to invest first to come back to you once they have enough. I'm so glad that you step up, that you made this progress and you moved up, because I remember our previous conversations where you were saying, like one of the unlocks is understanding how valuable I am for other people. If you want to be the cheapest possible coach on the market, you will never win, because there will be always someone who can offer cheaper things, or is an AI just pretending to be a human. Yeah, it's such a bad way to trying to be something that is unattainable, unsustainable. And it's much better for ourselves to grow, and for others, for our clients that want to feel fulfilled after having the service, that they're growing with you, and they're solving their issues.
Yeah. And at the end, it's not about money. It's about, are you really ready to give this to yourself? And then everything is possible. You will see, for example, there are amazing stories of big entrepreneurs that someone with no money get coached by this big entrepreneur. Why? Because they give something in return. I know a very famous entrepreneur in the Netherlands, and he said, I was just ringing his bell in front of his door. I had no money, and I told him, I can give you the next half year, I can edit your videos, I can go with you to film all your concerts, to film events, I do this and this. Everything I do with you, I just want to be close to you, because I believe that's the only way I become a big entrepreneur. I wish I could pay your coaching of whatever a year, but I cannot, but this I can afford. And this young guy at that time, I think it was 17 or 18, the big entrepreneur said yes. And this young guy was years later my first business coach, at that time, 21. And he taught me all the right things, because this is how he became this good. He was working a half year for a big entrepreneur, and in return he get all these amazing things. So money is not the problem for the most of the people. If you touch a therapist from the heart and you give something amazing back in return, he will work for you.
Yes, there are so many different ways, which again touches into the digital nomad journey, where traveling far away doesn't mean that you have to afford the business class in a plane. Sometimes you can win a ticket, yeah, or someone will give it to you, or you will sign up for some volunteering and they will pay for it to get you to Africa or some other places in like Latin America. And then you can have your amazing journey just because you made a decision that you want to help some people or you want to travel. And the money is just one of the ways, yeah, to get what you want.
Yeah, fully agree.
Could you tell me more about the clients, about the people who are working with you? You mentioned a bit earlier that most of the women, for example, they would have those strong elements of masculinity. And that would be one of the causes for issues in their relationships. But in general, would you actually work more with women, or do you also have a lot of men trying to solve their problems?
Yeah, it's a good question. In the early days, it was more women. Now it get more mixed. Like, let's say the overall thing is that most of the people come to me, they have kind of ambitiousness in them. You know, they want to improve. They are not happy. They want to improve. So this is the thing they have. Then I work with couples, mostly couples who get stuck in their relationship, you know, like cases stuck in fights, a bad sex life or whatever. They get stuck. They come to me. From the singles, it's man, woman. For example, with men, I see or the men where we talked about more like, yeah, more the nice guys. They're amazing, you know, like they're amazing, sweet guys, but they need to learn a little bit to be a little bit more tough sometimes. Also the opposite, guys who need to invest a little bit more in how to be more gentle or how to be more open for feelings and emotions, you know? So they come to me. And with the woman, I mostly see or women who are too sweet and they have always this narcissistic or toxic relationships, you know? So they need to more of themselves. Or on the other hand, they are quite strong and independent, and it's more difficult for them to open for love. And everything in between. I see so many different type of people, but I think this is what I see a lot.
And in terms of singles, do you also see some sort of a pattern that there are more single people trying to get help with you because of the loneliness or the digital nomad movement, and then a lot of people falling into some loneliness trap?
I see at the moment a little bit more singles than couples, and a couple is sometimes mostly not too late, but a little bit late. I just get this morning a message and he said, "Oh, Dirk, amazing. And it's so great, your content. Thank you for making it, because I wish it was earlier, because now my love life is over with her." But also another woman sent me a message like, "Hey, I got pregnant and we went to a good therapist before because we heard all our couples around us that their love life was ruined after the baby. So we thought, let's be clever, you know." It was like the investment, because he said, it's like investing early in the Bitcoin, you know, don't wait when I want to be it before, because he said, after kids, you get lots of people get drama. Then maybe you need to work 1 year with a love therapist or half year. Let's do a few with someone in prevention. Helped us a lot, you know. So this audience, it's good to also have them more. And what I see now these days, it's very normal to invest in lots of things. For example, in business coaching or entrepreneurship or in whatever. It's very normal, but to invest in love, it's still not really common, and it's really stupid, to be honest, because not because it's my business, but what I invest the most in my life, it's in my personal love life. A little bit because it was needed, but also because, for example, when I met Judith, and you know, because you were there, at that time I thought, wow, I meet such an amazing woman. I want that none of my patrons, we all have patrons, that none of my patrons will block the way that I have an amazing love life with her. So I called my old therapist. I said, "I'm fine, no worries, but can we have a few conversations? Because I met an amazing woman. I think we can have a great relationship. But you know me, sometimes my patrons, sometimes a call with you, I think I can I can work on them, and then I do everything to make this happen. And
Yeah, the prevention, it's such a strong thing. Whenever we are talking about health and like medical intervention, it's always cheaper to prepare yourself than to fix and go for a surgery and try to teach something because it's already broken. It's already so damaged that you will have a very long time to recover. But if you know that things will happen, if you know that the baby is coming, it's so much better to just prepare yourself and prepare the partner and the both of you to know how to address it, yeah, and how to still be in this intimate and very important love life together than just after a year or two find ourselves in trouble. Oh my God, do I still love him? Yeah, do I still love her? And like it's so bad when people forget about it that they can prepare it.
yeah, fully agree. So you can integrate it in your relationship as well, to keep it good, huh?
Yeah, for sure. That's part of the benefit of having these conversations with you and recording the podcast like that. I'm fully concentrated and integrated in our conversation here, in our relationship, that I'm learning a lot while recording. And I want to spread this knowledge or spread this energy, this vibe to other people who are listening. And this is definitely one of the best ways for me to learn. I have to be in interaction because just reading a book or listening to a podcast is very passive. It can just fly with one ear and then fly out, yeah, with another one.
Yeah, you want to work. I always said, what is the power of a good therapist? It's the work. For example, yesterday I had a call with one of my clients, and then I saw she was so touched by something I said, and it's also my masculinity. I just said what I said, She was touched, and then she gets silence. And then I thought, I'm not going to say anything because I can say like, oh, what's there with you? But it's for her to learn that if something get touched, that she tell like, hey, I'm sorry, but no, not sorry. Like, hey, I feel this touching my part. So I said nothing and I continue. And then moment she said, Dirk, I need to tell you something. I said, what you need to tell? And she said, yeah, what you're saying right now, I feel it touching me and it reminds me of my dad, blah, blah, blah. And that's great because then you can work with it. This is exactly what you want. This coaching or therapy, it's a safe space where you can do this kind of things. And that's amazing. And then after she sent me a WhatsApp like, wow, Dirk, this was such an amazing call because for the first time in my life, I really said to a man like, hey, this feels not right for me, And that's what you create. And it's not that I say something really on purpose to hurt you. And that's not true. But I'm not afraid to go for it, to be a human with a human and let's go for it. Let's see what happens. And then when something happened, then you work with it because it's always safe and it's always protected. And I'm always in my role in this case, So then you create. And that's also what you said. Like, of course, reading a book, it's interesting, but it's also easy to avoid. But when you're in front of someone, and that's also what you said, what I like about the podcast, yeah, if you ask someone a question or you start a conversation, you go, you cannot escape. And that's very good and effective for learning.
Oh, yes. Recognizing those moments when you are touched or triggered, and then what should I do with it? How do I work with this thing that is now inside me? And then we can grow from it. We can grow from this moment, of truth. I think people will be asking that because that's definitely something we were covering a bit in our previous episode. You are focusing on Dutch clients because that's your native language and you are working primarily with Dutch people from wherever they are. Do you do conversations and therapy in English too?
Yeah, I do. So sometimes I make an
Exceptions, yeah.
So sometimes people send me a message and I think, yeah, I'm going to help them. And so, yes, I do. I also have now Belgium clients because they speak Dutch, so the Flemish will grow now. But yes, I do. So if you feel like, hey, this can be helpful for me, just book a call and then or send me a message. But yeah, so I do.
Perfect. Yeah. So just for anyone listening, if you are interested after this conversation to dive deep, to learn more from Derek and to work on the issues regarding the relationships, then we'll be giving the link directly where you can schedule the call and then see if this is for you, if this is the thing to help with your love life. And for the last part of our conversation, I wanted to come back to the adventures, this traveling lifestyle, digital nomad journey, because it's still happening. Maybe it's a bit slower, maybe it's more mindful, having time for important people in your life. But it also changed, yeah, since we were talking last time. So I'm really interested in this setup that you currently have, that you are spending a lot of time in your apartment in Paris with your girlfriend, but you also have a house in the Netherlands and you also have an apartment in Tenerife. So how do you find yourself in all of those places?
The officially base is in Netherlands. So of course I'm there a lot. My love base, I call it, the emotional real base, is in Paris. Partner. She is a Parisian. She works for American San Francisco company, but their office is still in Paris. She go EMA, so it's very nice. She go from Paris really to lead teams in the whole of Europe. So I'm super proud of her. Still, the base is in Paris, so I'll be there a lot. Yeah, we met Piotrek. I also met my partner in Tenerife. We fell in love, and on day 2 on Boyuyo Beach, we went there with my scooter. I said, there is a villa. If you look right up, there's an amazing house. I said, Judith. She said, yes. I said, one day we buy together a house in Tenerife. And day 2, and then she looked to me. She said, yeah, why not? I think 2 years later, we got the key of our apartment in Tenerife. And that's
excellent.
Believe me, really, I still don't know how we did it, but we did it. And if you said this 2 years ago, even if I was said it myself, I thought it was never possible. But we just believed in it. And we did everything and we worked super hard and we were double focused, and it was also a crazy time. Like, I remember I was in Chateau co-living. All the digital nomads, they know this place, amazing place. Go there for sure. We were there and then working on my company, and she was working, and we did other things. And then it was like, oh shit, now we need to fly to Tenerife to sign, because it was in a hurry, and it was a very crazy, also very cool, like this quickness and this digital nomad craziness. Yeah, that was also very nice. Yeah.
Okay.
So what I do now is, especially now with my mom, it's 2 weeks Paris, 2 weeks Netherlands, because this is interesting. The situation and the context ask me to do this. So that's no Tenerife, no other things. This is what I do. And after I will see, but normally it's nice to have a nice balance between these 3. And of course, sometimes we do another trip. Like we said to each other, we need more Italy in our life. So every year, minimum one, Italy.
Nice.
A few weeks ago, because it was so much also with my mom, and we escaped for 1 weekend to Napoli. We went there already, but we just came for Italy, you know. Yeah. I think at the moment Judith travel more than me, because, yeah, besides the Dutch trips to other countries for work, but yeah. It's fun, you know. I still like, and you see it maybe on my face, I still like the freedom part as well. It's a good balance.
Yeah, and honestly, you were saying earlier that you are not sure if you are still a digital nomad. And in my perspective, the label digital nomad can be used by anyone, anywhere. It's not something that you have to earn or that you have to have enough of your miles and be somewhere in the world all the time. It's like camping, yeah? Like it's a verb, it's an activity that you live by doing and just going to places and working remotely, and other parts of your life can be connected to it. And you don't have to do it all the time also, yeah? It's not something that 24/7 your whole life, and once you start, you cannot stop. No, it's just a thing. And it's nice that a lot of people are focused on it. I'm definitely one of those people who is very interested in this cultural and social and other aspects of this life. That's why we are touching on important elements. Like here, we are talking a lot about relationships, about dealing with tough things, because they are all connected. Yeah, it's something you cannot escape from, and freedom, the notion and the value of freedom, which is like also super important for me. It's something that we carry. Yeah, wherever I go, it's still with me. And it doesn't matter how long I'm staying in one place. Currently, because of my love life, because of my girlfriend, I'm spending quite a lot of time in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. And I like it. I'm embracing it. Yeah. So let's see how it goes further, where we will be, where we will travel together. But it's so nice, yeah, that we can do this wherever we are. And getting back to your places, your bases, the apartment in Tenerife, you are renting it, you are putting it on Airbnb or some other places?
Just for us.
Okay. So you are keeping it for the moment you are back on the island.
Yeah, of course. My sister went once, and but no Airbnb, no booking.
Okay. And the one in the Netherlands, that's also some sort of investment?
Where I lived for a long time, and I rented to an amazing family. I like this. It's interesting because years ago, I was walking the Camino Santiago, and I was living with 4 kg on my back for many weeks. And then I came back to this house and I was crying in front, and I thought, what I do with this house? And then I start to realize like, I can make people happy with it. They rent it for me, and everyone is happy.
And this is also one of the ways to enable you to be more remote, to be more open to other people and meeting them while you are traveling. And then you never know how those connections can actually result in some future things. The one last thing that I'm quite curious about, because you are based in Paris, or as you are saying, your love base is there. The Summer Olympics in Paris are happening this year. So how the life looks like there? How is your life? Is it affected because of the constructions or some other restrictions?
Yeah, it's a nice question. Paris is a big city. For me, the biggest city I ever lived. It's like 6 million or something. But yeah, the Olympic Games, I feel also some tension, There will be so many people, and they are afraid of attacks, and I feel some tension, to be honest. It's amazing. We're gonna see a match. It's super cool. We're gonna see a volleyball. It's like a final or something. I'm very happy that Judith and me will go. Yeah, that will be fun. I never watched anything in real life of that, so that's nice. Close to us, there is a big fan zone, and there is the Dutch house, So I think drunk Dutch people will walk there or something. The metro, you see already the signs, and you see already the things, but yeah, it's not, that's already super alive, I think it will come, but slowly you see it coming. The prices are going up,
Yeah, of course, they have to somehow now get back all of the money from all the tourists around the world who will be coming to Paris. For me, the most interesting is the opening and the closing ceremony, because it's usually very colorful and spectacular. All of those artists singing or dancing and doing some amazing animations and special effects. Are you also going to either opening or closing ceremony?
Oh no, this is not on the list. There will be so many people, and it's not that I'm scared or something, but I think it's okay.
It's better to just be at your apartment.
Previous time, as I said, I was playing in a punk rock band. We went as a visitor, but also as a band to big festivals, and yeah, it's a lot, It's a lot, and yeah, I feel sometimes then a little bit stuck, because commit, and as my whole podcast with you, it's like it's good to commit and to learn to commit. And then my commitment is to stand there the whole day waiting and waiting and waiting, and then see a thing, and then it takes 3 hours to get out. And I think no, it's okay.
Yes, those big events have their own rules, how everything works and how people are standing in queues, and yeah, it's a lot in terms of mental weight or just like physical also weight. Yeah, so
I didn't choose for this commitment.
Okay, thank you very much, Derek. I'm so glad that we had a chance to record this second episode together, to dive deep into the relationships as this crucial and vital element for all of us, regardless if you are digital nomads, if you are single, if you are in relationships already. We have to take care of them. We have to foster them. We have to spend the quality time with our partners, with our parents, with our siblings, with our good friends. So I'm really happy that we did it today together.
Thank you so much, Piotrek. You're amazing human being. I want to thank you for having me again here. Let's say in 2 years, let's do it again if you're in for it. But what I'm
Sure.
looking forward the most is to see you, of course, in real life and to meet your new partner. I'm very happy for you, and it's the result
Thank you.
of, you know,
Mm,
see the right things, work on the right things, and there
mm,
is your why, you know. So I'm very happy for you. No surprise about that as well.
Thank you very much, Derek, and see you soon.
Yeah, bisous. Huh?
Peace.